and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. This is part 3 of my gold mask series, and in this video we're going to be working on the mask details and the rose. If you're following along traditionally, check out part 1 in this series where I have a list of all the brushes, paint, and canvas that I use. We're going to be using Corel Painter 2018 for Windows, and we're going to go ahead and start by darkening the edges of the mask just a little bit. And I want the mask to look a little bit browner, so I'm using a burnt sienna color, and I'm using the digital airbrush number 2 just to make this look a little bit darker and maybe a little bit more of a coppery color for the base color of the mask. And you can just glaze this if you're following along traditionally. Just use a thin mixture of burnt umber or burnt sienna and your number 6 flat brush probably, and just kind of paint over the color of the mask. And so then I'm using the tapering oils right here just to make it a little bit more painterly looking, or tapered oils. And so I want to go ahead and just look. I was playing around with the brush settings here and just trying to kind of make the end look a little bit more tapered. And as you can see, you can change the tip of your brushes if you want to, and you can make it a more of a chisel edge, or you can make it more where it has more bristles look to it, kind of a bristly look, or just whatever. You can do all kinds of things to your brushes. I've just barely scratched the surface on any of these brushes. You can make your own brushes completely if you want to. That's one of the neat things about this program. And so as you can see, there's all kinds of different settings. You can change the jitter on it, the angle on it, just all kinds of different things. And so I was using the palette knife just to see if I could change the angle on it a little bit, but I changed the jitter on it, and I just didn't like that effect for the mask. Now, it will be a neat effect for something, I'm sure. You can do all kinds of neat things with it, but I didn't like it for this mask. So I went back to the opaque acrylic here and just added a little bit more darker brown to the mask. I didn't think that was dark enough, so I just wanted to go ahead and make it a little bit darker here, and I'm trying to blend it in a little bit. And I went back to my Just Add Water number 2 blender brush. This is becoming one of my favorite brushes, at least for this project. And then I'm working on the mask eye holes and just adjusting the shape of them, making them bigger, and just trying to get the shape correct. And you can use a black color for this. And again, if you want to mix your own black, use ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, or burnt umber with some dioxazine purple, and it makes a deep, rich black. You can use your short script brush for some of the detail work on this mask. And this is what I'm trying to do here, is start to add the details along the edge of the mask. So I'm using the opaque acrylic brush in Corel Painter and just making a broken line along the edge of the mask just to kind of give it that look that it has in the photo reference here. It's kind of a stitched look, or a broken up line here. And you can use yellow ochre with a lot of white here, but you want kind of a golden. You're trying to get the golden color here. So I'm just using the broken edge line here and making little dots along the edge of the mask. And then the eye holes, I'm outlining the eye holes, and it's probably a glitter paint that they used on this mask to make it. So I'm using a broken line to kind of give it that look of glitter paint. And then I'm adding the design that they have on the mask. And again, it's probably more glitter paint. So I'm just using a broken line for all the design, making it look kind of rough on the edges, not real smooth, just because it has that certain look. And I'm just following my photo reference to kind of get the look of the design that was put on the mask here. And you can use your short script brush or your long script brush if you're following along traditionally. And just make sure that you're making a broken line also with your script brush. And then here, the little ornament that's in the center of the mask at the top, I'm making little circular broken strokes to give the intricate lace look that the little ornament that they have in the center of the mask has. And just working a little bit more on the edge of the mask and adjusting the shape of it a little bit here. Just trying to get that glittery look that the original has. And then the feathers go over it a little bit, so I'm using the palette knife and opaque acrylic to kind of pull the feathers over the mask, and that gives it a three-dimensional look to your painting. And I'm working on the feathers, adding a little bit of some browns to them, and adding the quill into the feathers there a little bit, and blending it with the Just Add Water number 2 brush, and just trying to get a feathered look right there. And here I'm working on the little ornament again, and just kind of correcting some of the shapes on the mask here, just trying to get them a little bit thinner, a little bit more like the line is broken here. And you just go back and do that with the color that you made for the underpainting of your mask here. So you take some of your brown color and just go back and work on the little ornamental touches that they have on the mask here. And you just keep doing that till you get the design the way you want it, and then you can go back with your light yellow color and your script brush and paint over it again until you get what you want here. And then I'm trying to get a highlight where the nose will be on the mask, the nose piece. And you just use kind of a really light white color and then blend it in. And then I want to start on the rose a little bit here. And so you take yellow ochre and a lot of white and mix it in here. And I'm using my opaque acrylic brush and just trying to kind of get the shape of the petals for the rose. We're not looking for final details here. We just kind of want to get the shape of the petals. And you can do this with your script brush or your number 6 flat brush. We're just trying to get kind of a general idea here. And then I'm using the tapered oils brush to kind of bring out the highlight. And I like the smeared look that it gives, the kind of, this makes it look more like an actual oil painting texture here. And so I'm adding in a little bit of darker pockets of kind of a yellow ochre color, probably with lots of white, but maybe a little bit of burnt umber with a lot of white in it. You just want a little bit darker pockets there for the flower. And then you want to go ahead and kind of blend it out. And here I'm using the blender bristle brush, and it's actually doing a pretty good job too. It gives it kind of a painterly look. So it's nice to, if you want to get kind of the oil paint look or just kind of the bristly look, this brush right here does that pretty well. And so I'm just kind of adding a lot of really light yellow on the edges and just trying to get sort of the general shape of the rose. And if you want to do this traditionally, just keep adding pockets of dark and light. That's how you're going to make your rose. You shape your petals, you use probably a filbert. You can use your number 8 filbert for this probably to make your petal shapes. And here I'm just trying to get a little bit more of the shape of the rose here, and I'm testing different brushes in Corel Painter. And the Real Dry Flat gives kind of a nice shape here. And so I'm just kind of using several different ones to try and kind of get the shape that I want of the rose and get a painterly look. I want a painterly look for this. So just go ahead and keep adding pockets of dark and light to your rose. And use your photo reference to help you see the way that the petals are shaped and the way that they grow, and just how they look against the pockets of shadows and light here. Okay, this is the end of part 3 of my gold mask series. And in part 4, we're going to be doing some more work on the rose and a little bit more on the mask and the leaves of the rose. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I will catch you later.